Impact segment tonight, giving President Trump a fair hearing. As you know, some on the left are not doing that, claiming his presidency is illegitimate. Joining us now from Washington, Jonathan Turley, teaches constitutional law at George Washington University. So you've been critical of the delegitimizers. Why?
Well, I think that there is an effort, a concerted effort, to create some type of political mythology to suggest that President Trump is some type of pretender in office. And I think that's a dangerous thing. You know, my house was filled with friends and family that came to protest the inauguration, and I didn't join them, nor did my kids. Because I've taught them that, you know, the 4th of July is an important holiday, but it was basically a declaration to a foreign leader. The inauguration day is far more important, because that's where we keep a promise to each other, that even when we're divisive, even when we're hateful in elections, we come together on that day every 4 years, and we affirm what's really a leap of faith under our system. And to see all of those members of Congress boycotting this inauguration, I thought was shameful. You know,
now, what do you think is driving, they have named it now, the Trump derangement syndrome? What is driving that?
Well, I think part of it is that there's a lot of folks in this town that want to redirect a lot of this anger. You know, the Democrats helped bring about this election as much as Donald Trump did. You know, they didn't look at polls that said that people wanted a anti-establishment figure. They didn't look at polls showing that Hillary Clinton had record negatives. They pushed through her like she was the anointed candidate for the Democratic Party. They steamrolled Sanders. The result should not surprise many people, but there's a lot of folks that want to suggest, look, it wasn't us, it wasn't our message, it wasn't our choices. Much of that same leadership is still in place. And instead they want to suggest that somehow he stole the election or that Putin gave him the office, which is, of course, ridiculous.
But those are all devices to generate a real hatred of Donald Trump. So he evokes this powerful support for his people who love him, okay, but also this hatred for people who loathe him. And I'm wondering what drives the loathing. Is it any one thing? Is it his personality? Is it a stance on an issue? What do you think it is?
No, I think that's what's so dangerous about this, is that there is this disconnect from reality as people create this mythology of just total hate. You know, I had one relative in my house who was talking about Trump supporters, very negative comment. I said, you know, there are very nice Trump supporters. There's, about 47% of people voted for him. So you do realize that there are lots of nice Trump supporters. And she wouldn't accept that, and I think that's part of this.
Why wouldn't she accept
mythology.
it, though? You're a logical man.
Well, I think
she wouldn't accept that 47% of the voting public isn't evil. She wouldn't accept that. That's irrational.
I think that there is this rhetoric that is pushing everyone to extremes on both sides, and it's dangerous for a government like ours. We have to get along at some point. We've got problems to solve, and sometimes when you have a big change, like the Trump administration, it can bring positive things. You can re-look at issues, and if Trump is willing to work with Congress, we could come up with some innovative solutions.
Well, if he's successful, that's going to make the haters hate him even more. You know that. See, I don't think you're ever going to win over a certain segment of the population. Now, what could Trump do himself, from your vantage point, to try to assuage some of this anger toward him? Is there anything that he could do?
In some ways, he benefits. I always tell my wife that the success of our marriage is due to the fact that I lowered her expectations so much that I've surpassed them every day. Trump may have that advantage. The expectations are so low. If he does anything but a nuclear strike in the first 3 weeks, a lot of predictions are going to be wrong. I think that he could show that it's possible to come up with new ideas. I thought it was interesting when he talked about inner cities and said, you know, I know that these are Democratic strongholds, but it hasn't really worked out that well.
No, it hasn't. No, if he sends the troops into Chicago, by the troops I mean federal agents and federal attorneys, that might go a long way in showing people that he does care about it.
Well, also, I think that he needs to look at more innovative solutions and new ways of looking at those problems.
Well, he's certainly taken a lot of action. I don't know how innovative it is, but it's certainly definite. Professor, we appreciate your point of view. Thank you.